This morning I want to talk about it's your time. You know, when you it's a little bit one that I really wouldn't be occasioned to put out there. It's your time. But when I'm talking about that this morning, I'm looking at it at a different context. I'm looking at it, it's your time, meaning you've been through a battle. You've been through a struggle. You've been through a season that you fought a lot of, or a war. There's something that slipped out of your hands. There's something that you've been going through for a while, and you're here this morning saying, wow, I really think that God has more for me. I really think that there's more out there. As a matter of fact, I want to put this behind me. I want to put that broken relationship behind me. I want to put that thing that I've been struggling with behind me. I want to put that fighting, that warring within me behind me, and I want to move forward. What I'm talking about this morning, it's your time. It's almost like the American century. Stay with me for a moment. They tell us that, you know, after World War II, that was like the time where the housing boom, the baby boom. There was the Industrial Revolution, meaning it was born out of struggle. It was born out of hardship, chaos. It was born out of something that really taxed our nation to the hilt, and then came forth something, a breakthrough. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about something easy or something that you haven't earned. I'm talking about something that you've been through, and God has now another level or another destiny for you. That's what I'm talking about this morning. It's your time. You know, I was reading the text here in 1 Kings. It talks about the building of the temple, but it came out of hardship. It came out of a lot of false starts. It came out of a lot of things. Let me read the text here. You know that because of the wars waged against my father David from all sides, he could not build a temple for his name, for the name of the Lord his God, until the Lord put his enemies under his feet. But now the Lord my God has given me rest on every side, and there is no adversary or disaster. I intend, therefore, to build a temple for the name of the Lord my God, as the Lord told my father David, when he said, your son, whom I put on the throne in your place, will build a temple for my name. Now, what's the author talking about here in 1 Kings? He was talking about how the nation went through hardships, went through struggles. God had a plan for the nation, that they weren't going to be in worship in tents, and that the rulers built a temple for the people. But what happened is there was fighting, there were setbacks, the enemy got the best of them, and there were seasons that they really couldn't get a lot done. As a matter of fact, they were stopped in their tracks. And then it says here, but now the Lord my God has given me rest. But let's go through the text here. Because of the wars waged against me, what has gone on in your life that has held you back? What has happened in your life? What have you been through in the past that you would be here this morning, you would say, yeah, that's me, because of the loss of my job, because of that person who walked out of me, because of my children and me having to deal with the problems. Because of all this, my life has been on hold for a while. It seems like I haven't become all that I really believe, the things that God had for me. And matter of fact, I've been trying to clean up this financial disaster, fallout that I've been through. My credit score is getting better. As a matter of fact, I'm finding that it's getting a little better, but I'm still have some residual, some things that are still bothering me. First of all, it says here in verse 3, because of the wars waged against my father from all sides. Have you kind of felt like in your life, it seems like things were collapsing from every side? It seems like you thought that you were coming up for water. You thought for air, and then all of a sudden you were hit again from something else. You got this phone call. You thought things were working out, and from every side it seems like you're being hit. I remember several years ago in my life, I was running this program, Teen Challenge. I took this person in from prison, and, matter of fact, about half of our people came in from prison. We lived there. We had about 40 guys, and it was probably the best ministry I've been a part of. Well, I'm thankful for this one, but it was very, I liked helping people that were struggling, to give them a chance and to give them a cup of cold water. But, early on I saw this person, it was troubling, and they end up calling the authorities, and then they called OSHA. They called this. We end up having to put a lock on one of the doors because they were sneaking out at night. The neighbors were complaining and different things. And, it's running a Christian discipleship program. I remember them calling saying, oh, we put the locks on the doors, and then this and this. We were dealing with one battle after another. We had good intentions, but we were fighting through this. And it seems like as soon as we started to get over something, we got another phone call that there was an accusation or whatever it may be, a staff member, this. And it seems like from one thing after another, it was a struggle. But then I saw that after a while, God began to work things through. But what about in your life? You thought that it was over with. You thought that there were some things that, you battled. And it seems like when it was raining, it was pouring. And here the author is saying that they're raging war on all sides. And because of the battles, because of the fights, it says he could not build the temple. Because of what was been going on in your life, you couldn't finish that degree. Because of having that child, because of that situation, whatever it may be, you kind of found that your dreams were put on hold. And you're here this morning wondering, what does God have for me? Is there more? I went through that relationship. I thought that person was the right one, and it didn't work out. And I'm here today wondering how God is going to work things out for me tomorrow. It says he could not build. He couldn't go forward. You know what it is to have your life on hold. You know what it is for your life to be, not developing in the pace that you would like. His God until the Lord put his enemies under his feet. And we see here that God was working things out. May I say for you that God is working behind the scenes when you don't know it? And God is working things out. When I thought that for me, all the sides were collapsing. As a matter of fact, I flew to the mainland, and I just said, staff, run the program. The person got a call, and the attorney general found our pamphlet, and they said, wow, you got a great program here. And overnight he kind of squelched everything and went to bat for us. What I'm saying is, God has a way of helping you when you don't know what he's doing behind the scenes. I want to say to you this morning, when you think that things are out of control, maybe that's when God is starting to put things down. Well, we see here that things were put on hold. You know what that is. When your life has been put on hold, you're there, you wish you were farther ahead because of the wars, because of all the things you've been battling. You're still alive though. You made it. Your head is above water. But listen, now here we go. And this is a kind of a transition. It's your time. We're talking about it's your time. I want to say to you, I truly believe if you're here this morning, it's your time for your breakthrough. I really believe. And I'm not saying this because you deserve it or whatever. No, I'm saying it because you've been through a lot of battles. You've been through a lot of hardships. And God now is about to release some things that you've been waiting for. We see here, but now the Lord has given me rest on every side. And no adversary. When I read this, I said, well, I don't know how to interject that one, because we're never really at complete peace, are we, friends? Even when things are quieted down a little bit and we're thankful and we say, whoa, there's always something that we're dealing with. But let's go along with the text here. But now. So I want to say because of, it's your time. Because of this and that, you fill in where it is for your life. Because of this, my life has been, those dreams, those things have been put on. But now, and that's what I want to move down the tracks a little bit here. But now, I don't want to just talk about verse 3 because that's yesterday. And sometimes I have a way of always going back to verse 3 in my life. I did it in an example here, that illustration I just gave you. But sometimes you got to put those things to rest. Sometimes you got to put those things to, if you've been through a relationship, if you've been through something that's gone astray, you know what I'm talking about. But it says, but now the Lord my God has given me rest on every side. That's what I say about what you're moving into. God has been working behind the scenes, and you're coming into your rest where God has been deliberately working on your behalf, setting things up on your behalf. And you're here this morning wondering how it's going to work out. But now the Lord my God has given me rest. Listen, here's what I like in verse 5. I intend therefore. And you know, when you've been through so much, it would be so easy to look at your life and say, okay, but I'm above water and I'm just going to stay there. I'm above it. I'm not going to venture out anymore. I'm not going to try anymore. If for me, it could have been, I'm not going to help anybody anymore. No, look what happened to me. No, they bit the hand that fed them, whatever, whatever. And I'm not going to take a chance anymore. Here we see it's your time. If you're going to follow it through what God has for you, you got to be an intentional person. And that's the third thought here. I intend, therefore. So the writer says that I've been through a lot of things. My life, there's been a lot of battles. But the Lord's brought me through. And if you're here today, the Lord's brought you through. Many people have counted you out, but you're still alive. Many people said that you weren't going to make it, that your best days were behind you, but you're still here this morning. God, you might have waddled in here. You might have, crawled in, but you made it this morning. And God's here to tell you that now, I intend therefore to build. God wants you now to get back to those things that He has for you. Don't give up on your future. Don't give up on those things. It would be easy to say, but the wars that I fought, they kept me. Okay, but I'm 60, but I'm going to finish that degree. Okay, that person walked out of me, or that relationship's broken. I can never have another. No. I intend therefore to build. I intend to go forward with my life. Here, the writer had to pick up the pieces and says, the intention was to build the tabernacle, to build the temple all along. It was put on hold, but God now has worked things out. Oh, it's not perfect. Remember what I said, it's never perfect. There's always things we're battling, but I intend. And here's what you need to do, friend. You got to be intentional now and go forward in your life. Don't lick your wounds. Don't lick your wounds and say, okay, I'm thankful, but I'm not going to venture out. I'm not going to start that business anymore. I'm not going to do that. No, I lost my last business. But God has helped you. God has brought you out of it. He has page and go forward. I was reading, I've seen the movie. Some of you, I don't like giving movie illustrations, but I saw the movie, The Shawshank Redemption. You've heard me quote it a few times. But I'm really amazed by the different quotes. Let me give a few quotes. The characters, Andy Dufresne and, Morgan Freeman plays Red. And what it's about is this individual, this young man, maybe in his 30s, got convicted of a double murder. And what happened was they said he killed his wife and her lover. They found together when he came in on the room. And he said that, it had to be a motive. It was a rage, and he killed them. He claims he never did. It was someone else, and he was in prison for 18, 19 years. And he said, I never killed my wife, because someone asked him, Morgan Freeman, he says, what are you in for? Why do it? he says, I never did it. And Morgan Freeman laughs and he says, yeah, that's what they all say. Well, no one's, everyone's innocent here. But this individual was. This individual was, and he says, you know, he went through and they were having a talk out in the court. They were there together, and this person had enough of it. Andy Dufresne had enough, and he says, you know, I've paid 18, 19 years of my life here, and I kind of think it's enough. Matter of fact, he goes on one point, he says, you know, maybe I really did kill my wife. I didn't kill her, but maybe I had something to do with it because I didn't treat her right, and these kinds of things. So he took ownership. Some of you have been through a lot of different things. You didn't do it, but to be humble, you could say, okay, I could have done better, so I'm going to buy into it 100%. I didn't deserve that person to do what they did to me. I didn't deserve to lose my job. We're here this morning in grace and saying, okay, but Lord, maybe I could have done better. We're accepting something there because God is a good God to those who humble themselves. So the person, and they're worried about him, and Morgan Freeman went to bed in the cell that night and said to his different ones, I'm really worried, because they thought Andy Dufresne was going to commit suicide that night. Instead, he escaped. You know, he's been for 18, 19 years breaking through that wall, and he got 6 foot of rope. He was hanging himself, but that rope was to climb down and to escape. And it says at one point, a tunnel of, I can't say that word on this platform, but it was the SH word, but I'll say crap. And he said he went through that tunnel of crap because he had to climb through a sewer thing. But it says that he came out clean on the other end. Here I want to say to you, some of you have gone through 18 years, that things that have gone on in your life, but God is about ready to bring you through. Let's give a few quotes here. Here's what it says. Yeah, right. That's the way it is. It's down there and I'm up here. Comes down to a simple choice. Really? Get living or get dying. Forget, there's some quotes here. Just let me give you a couple. In the stone. They were just thinking they've been here. All those people were in prison their whole life. And they said, you just got to forget there are other places out in the world that are not made of stone. Because they just looked at that prison that was all stone. Sometimes it's so easy to be comfortable about what's around you. You forget that God has more for you. Listen, maybe you're not the one that's been, digging away that hole. But maybe the Holy Spirit every night has been working in your life, making you a hole. So to chapter through your life. But we see here, Dear Red, if you're reading this is when they were out. Dear Red, if you're reading this, you've gotten out, you've escaped. Some of you have escaped. Some of you know that you're farther ahead. You've escaped that situation. You're alive today. It says, and if you've come far, a little farther. That's where I'm talking to you. That's where I intend. Maybe you've got to come a little farther. Listen, you remember the name of the town, don't you? Now this is a note that was written. Here, what it was they were trying to inspire to go farther. They were trying that God had something more. Let me just give you a couple other. Annie Dufresne, who crawled through a river came out on the other side. Annie Dufresne, headed for the Pacific. Those who knew him best talked about him often. I swear, the stuff he pulled some stuff, but we're still alive. Sometimes it makes me sad though. Andy being gone. Listen, God has more for you. I have to remind myself that some birds aren't meant to be caged. Brother, sister, you're not meant to stay where you're at. You're meant to continue on with your destiny to what God has for you. You say, no, I gotta leave it the way it is. No, you don't. God knows what he has for you. You got to step forward. He's taken care of some things in your life. He's touched you. You got to get on to that next chapter that he has for you. It says here, sometimes it makes me sad. I intend to remind myself that some birds aren't meant to be caged. Listen, their feathers are too bright. My brother, my sister, your feathers are too bright to be held down. Listen, and fly away. The part of you that knows it is a sin to lock them up and rejoice. But still, the place you live is gone. You know, I was reading another quick story. Let me give this. It's a story about shaking it off. One day a farmer's donkey, stay with me, I'm winding this down. One day a farmer's donkey fell into an abandoned well. There was a water well. He fell into it. Don't make me act this out, please. I didn't wear a tie for that reason. But the animal cried out for hours as the farmer tried to figure it out what to do. Finally, he decided the animal was old. Some have said that you're old just to leave you down in there. To leave you down that it's not worth picking yourself up. You made a bed for your life. There's no sense trying to get out of it. He decided the animal was old. Some people have counted you out, but God has never left you. He's kept his eye. He's kept what he has for you. You thought the dream is unachievable. No, stay with me. I got need anyway. People thought to be covered up, and it was worth it to him to try and retrieve the donkey out. No, it ain't worth it. It's an old donkey. It's the donkey's been giving me trouble. Just let the donkey, and we gotta bury the well anyway. So stay with me. So he invited all his neighbors to come over and help him, because they decided that the well needed to be, closed in so children won't fall into it. The donkey's in there, so they just kind of fill it all in. Some kind of thought that's the way your life ought to be. Maybe it was even an ex, maybe someone else, maybe your job. You deserved it. So they all grabbed a shovel and began to shovel dirt into the well. Realizing what was happening, the donkey at first cried out, realizing shoving everyone, the neighbors shoveling dirt into the well. The donkey, what are they doing? They're killing me. Some of you felt like life was collapsing on every side. Nothing was working out for you. And it says it seems, everyone's against me. My boss, my parents, my husband, my wife. So, no, I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. They all grabbed a shovel and began to put dirt in the well. Realizing what was happening, the donkey cried out. Initially, horribly. Some of you first cried out saying, God, don't know what's going on in my life. I didn't get that job. I don't have no money. It's not working out. Then a few shovels later, the donkey quieted down. You quieted down in your life. You saw that God's hand was in it. He was helping you. You knew that you came up for water. You knew there was more to life than you fall, and you knew there was something there. The farmer peered down well and was astounded by what he saw. When every shovel that hit the donkey, please don't make me get on the ground and act this out, please. But I may. And he was astonished for what he saw. With every shovelful of dirt that hit his back, the donkey was doing something amazing. Someone said that you couldn't survive. Someone said your best days were behind you. Someone said, as a matter of fact, the devil said that he had you in his clutches. But the cross of Jesus sets you free. With every shovelful of dirt that hit his back, the donkey would do something amazing. He would shake it off and step up. And every time there was a new layer, they tried to bury you. They shoveled it on you. First it was one thing after another. First it was financial, it was relationship. And then it seems that they all got together. There was no one for you, but God was there all the my brother, my sister. God was there because he loves you. So the donkey, when the dirt hit his back, he shook it off and stepped up. Then someone else threw it on. And then you got a call Monday and you didn't know how you were going to survive. But somehow you went to church. Somehow you prayed the prayer again. You shook it off and you stepped up. Finally you did that so much. You stepped it up. Then you stepped out of those things that was meant to bury you. My brother, keep shaking it off. Keep fighting life through. Keep shaking it off and keep stepping up. You think you came here today and nothing was going on in your life. You know you did? You shook it off and you stepped up. You shook it off. Oh, I had a bad week, Pastor. You don't know what I've been through. I understand. But you made it here. You shook it off and you stepped up. But now here's what God wants you to do. He wants you now to step out and begin to live all over again. It's not good enough for you to be on level ground and to be there saying, I made it. Yeah, you made it. But you got more for you. God never forgot about that dream. God has someone for you. God has a plan for you. You need to now become that donkey. No, I got to get a better illustration there. You need to become the child of God that he intended you to be. And you got to start living life again. Let me finish here, then I'm done. Our chicken is ready. Some of you saying, thank the Lord. Soon, the donkey stepped over the edge of the well and trotted off. Can you trot off this morning? Can you be that person? Can you go after your dreams again? I had one lawyer tell me, if you don't fight this thing, you better take off your collar. You could tell he was a Catholic lawyer. He better take off. And I says, I don't want to fight. I'm tired of fighting. Just settle it. He says, you better fight it all the way. And I understand that sometimes there's a time to fight. But I said, no, I believe God. Under my breath, I said, no. I remember when I was a drug addict, I had it harder than this. I remember when I was hitchhiking on 80, where no one was there at 17, and I knew that God had a plan for my life. No, I'm in a battle today. I'm in a battle from every side, but I don't believe that. I don't accept it. Don't accept what people are saying about your life. Listen, don't. They're trying to bury you. The world is trying to bury you, but God has a plan for you. Be intentional this week. Go after it. Become all that God has for you. Okay, let me finish. And shock and say to all the neighbors, I like this. God says he's going to do it openly. He's going to do it openly. I had one person say, how could he become friends with Joel? I don't know. I'm thankful. Oh, better turn off the tape. Thank you. All I know is in my deepest, darkest pit, God gave me a friend to lift me up. God's going to give you a friend to lift you up. Let me finish. Life is going to shovel dirt on you. All kinds of dirt. The trick is to getting out of it, the well, and not be buried. Not let it bury you, but to shake it off and step up. Each of our troubles is a stepping stone. We can get out of the deepest pits, the deepest well, by just not stopping. Never give up. That's what Corrie Ten Boom said. Never give up. She in that concentration camp. When everyone was dying around, she believed and she lived. She says, I want to live to be an old woman. She lived into her 90s. When everyone died, was gassed in the chambers. Never give up. Shake it off and step up. Listen, friend, God has a plan for you. Bow your head, bow your head, bow your head. God has a plan for you. God has something he wants to do in your life. Satan's here to bury it. God's here to say, my grace is sufficient for you. Oh, you may not have killed him, but you may have said some bad words that caused part of it. You're not guilty to be 2 life sentences. As a matter of fact, God made a way for you. You spent a lot of years. You didn't like it. You felt abandoned. But God has been tapping that thing and making a way for you the whole time. And when people thought it was over, you climbed out of that sewer and you came out clean. And God even gave you the fortunes. He came out with a couple $100,000 and lived a life. God's going to pay back you what you've lost. God's going to give you back all those years that the world has stolen from you. God's going to give it back. Close your eyes. Is there anyone here that would say, Pastor, I need Jesus? Pastor, I need God. Sorry for my mistakes. I've gone astray. And I want God to come into my life. If that's you this morning, don't get around, please. We're out of here in 2 minutes. If that's you, you say, I need Jesus. Lift your hand. Please lift your hand. God bless you. 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 Let's all repeat this. I'm going to repeat it because I need Jesus this morning. Dear Jesus, I love you. I'm sorry for my mistakes. I'm sorry for my sin. Please come into my life. Please forgive me. Cleanse me. I accept you, Jesus. I thank you for forgiveness of sin. In Jesus' name. Bless your people, I pray. No demon force going to hold. There's not a demon in hell that's going to keep you from your destiny this week. God has a plan for you. It's your time. It's your time. God has a perfect time for you to break forth. Please stand together. Please stand together. If you're here and visiting, you say,